My backlog keeps getting bigger. They just keep putting out great games. Here are the video games I played in the summer of 2025. First is Live Alive. Yeah, I'm going by the pronunciation from that Nintendo Direct years ago, even though it doesn't sound right. Saying it like Live Alive doesn't sound right either, so either way works. Just pick your poison. I first played this on Switch back in 2022, and when I saw it on sale for PS4, I couldn't help myself. You know me, I love my trophies. Both they and my cat outfit keep me warm at night. So first off, this game isn't for everyone. It plays like it has an identity crisis, and there are those who don't appreciate that. It's divided into 8 chapters, plus a lengthy final chapter. Each chapter has its own main protagonist, and it plays like a different game genre. One of my favorites is Masaru's. His chapter is simply a boss rush. He doesn't earn experience, but he does learn special moves once he feels them. I'd say he's a good choice to start out with, so you can quickly get a feel for the combat system. I'm told that this grid-based battle system is old school, but I thought it was a refreshing change of pace, considering how I never played a game like this before. My second favorite stars the young caveman Pogo. His story is a raunchy comedy, the kind you see in anime all the time. And there's Oberumaru, a shinobi in old Japan whose chapter is a labyrinth crawler. You have to make your way through this castle to rescue someone, then confront the local lord. You can get rewarded for doing a pacifist run, or get a different reward for slaying everyone in the castle. By far my least favorite chapter is Cubes, whose chapter plays out like an interactive novel. This story was clearly inspired by the movie Alien, which is cool, except that you don't do battle until the boss fight at the very end. That's a bit of a problem because each chapter is meant to get you accustomed to his character's fighting style, but this chapter doesn't give you ample opportunity. And then there's Akira's chapter. It's one of the more lengthy ones because it plays out like a standard JRPG. Except that you can't buy weapons or armor, you have to get those things through other means. There's this one annoying segment where you have to go to the toilet repeatedly so that one of your orphan buddies can give you free stuff. Once you complete the first 8 chapters, you fall into the final one where all your heroes band together. If you seek them out, that is. And then like the Planeteers, their disciplines combine in order to defeat an ancient evil. Unfortunately, the final chapter is very straightforward. The personality and charm from previous chapters are nearly gone here. Live Alive is sort of like Nier Automata, which has playstyles that may be different, but they share the same DNA. No matter what chapter you're in, you're gonna have this grid-based combat. There's also no money system, and you automatically heal up after every battle. The story takes some dark turns, sure, but overall it's pretty silly and often immature. It's a remake of a Super Famicom classic after all, and purists should appreciate how much of the gross humor remains intact. Personally, I have no desire to play the classic version, because I'd rather have 2D sprites moving freely in a 3D world, rather than these super tiny sprites moving in an invisible grid all the time. One of the most memorable parts of the game is what you're listening to right now, the boss theme, Megalomania. It's just one of those songs that you know is pretty cheesy, but it's really awesome at the same time. I'm pretty sure the composer worked some black magic to make such a thing possible. As you should tell by now, I really like this game. It has its disappointing parts, but I like how it changes things up to keep the experience from growing stale. It's tricky though, there's a right way and a wrong way of doing things, so either use an online guide or just be extra alert. And if you miss anything important, you can just restart the chapter if you feel you have to.
Wonderful, wonderful!
Oh, my lord!
Let me guess. It's not that you hate milk, but that you can't stomach it, unless it's fresh from your mother's tits.
Your mother's, maybe.
Next is Coffee Talk.
Coffee.
Coffee Talk is aptly named, for it has coffee.
And a lot of talking.
Not as much talking as this bad boy, but still a lot. This is a visual novel with a little interactivity. You play the role of a barista who owns the shop that only opens at night. And you're in Seattle, which explains the constant rain in the background. and you're in a modern world with fantasy creatures, such as elves, fairies, merpeople, and orcs. Your customers come in and unload all their personal problems on you. And it's cool because they buy drinks. For instance, there's Freya, who snagged herself a book deal. Problem is, she has to finish the first draft in about 2 weeks. I've written a few books myself, and I can tell you, doing that in 2 weeks might be possible. But you'd have to put your nose to the grindstone, be absolutely committed. And if you happen to be working full-time doing something else, forget it. You'd be in for the long haul. Anyway, the interactivity part involves making drinks. You choose 3 ingredients, then hit brew. But you'll first have to listen to customer orders, which is very simple at first, but as the game goes on, orders get harder to do. For example, Freya wants an espresso. I chose coffee for all 3 ingredients, and voila! She'll be trembling more than the San Andreas fault. I once tried my hand at making the wrong drink, for an orc no less. I thought she'd surely pick me up and toss me out the window. Instead, I was awarded a trophy, and the orc said, whatever, I'll drink it anyway. The people of this world may be fantasy folk, but they have problems just like us in real life. Here's an elf and a succubus who are dating. I can't blame the guy for seeing her, I mean, she's really cute. But here's the deal with having a relationship with a succubus. Pro, absolutely fantastic sex. You can't get much better. Con, you will die from it. No, there's no probably. Who put that there? Pro, it's a hell of a way to go. I mean, it's not like you're gonna complain afterward. A pretty nifty part of the game is creating latte art. For this beefy boy, I showed off how I want to scream sometimes. If he got the message, he didn't show it, but his buddy seemed a little down, so I wanted to turn that frown upside down. I ended up making this snaggletooth son of a bitch. The customer didn't seem to mind. I imagine using a mouse would be a lot better than a thumbstick, but hell, I guess latte art isn't really my calling anyway. I met all sorts of different people in this story, including odd pairings and, well, just plain oddities. It's an inspiring story about how we're not alone in this world, so it's okay to reach out for help. The game goes for $14 on the PlayStation Store, but I actually got it on disc at the Level Up Expo in April. The price for it was $46. I guess that's what you call a premium convention price. I also got this Lupin the Third movie. It looks innocent enough, doesn't it? Until you get to the scene with the completely nude woman, and that's only the first one. I also bought some dice, such as this hard resin set with magical purple ink inside. Are you enchanted yet? And here's a hollow metal set with Legends of Valhalla holding up the numbers. I don't even play tabletop games. I just like to have dice for them. Next is Immortals, Fenyx Rising. Yeah, it's a stupid title. There is a game out there, or series of games, where you play as a murder hobo who's out to slay all the Greek gods. This is not that game. You're actually rescuing the gods after they've been transformed and rendered helpless by the great titan Typhon. The story begins with Typhon, who actually makes a good point.
They're cruel, vindictive and selfish, and let the heel of Achilles, these weaknesses will be their undoing.
Typhon stole Zeus's lightning powers, so here's Zeus going to Prometheus for help. Prometheus uses his power of foresight to tell the tale of Fenyx, who has come to rescue the gods in spite of Zeus turning all of mankind into stone in his frustration. Seems a little impulsive of Zeus, right? Oh, but that's just the beginning. It soon becomes clear, if you didn't know already, that this game is a Breath of the Wild clone. It does some things differently, but the similarities are too numerous to ignore. After a tutorial island, you begin your quest for collectibles. You use these collectibles to gain new abilities and upgrade those abilities, plus your stats. The open world has physics puzzles scattered throughout, which you solve using telekinesis powers. Puzzles and battle gauntlets are also found in Vaults of Tartarus, which are like the shrines in Breath of the Wild. And finally, you have the goal of freeing 4 of the Greek pantheon before you take on the big bad. Unlike Breath of the Wild though, I don't think you can confront the final boss within an hour or two. Oh, did I mention this game is from Ubisoft? So yeah, you bet there are Ubisoft towers in this thing. There are only 7 of them, which is pretty conservative for an Ubisoft open world game. Enemies are pretty tough in the beginning, but if you complete challenges then buy new battle techniques, you should have an easier time of it. These techniques aren't just about dealing heavy damage, but also crowd control. And since weapons don't break in this game, hallelujah, you can cream enemy parties as often as you want. The story explores actual Greek mythology, which can get pretty dark, but the tone remains humorous throughout. The game's humor is silly and irreverent, like in other games like Ratchet & Clank and Jak and Daxter. Much of it fell flat for me, but some jokes did make me laugh out of the sheer absurdity of some dialogue. Throughout the game, even if you're not doing story segments, Zeus and Prometheus occasionally chime in with their storytelling. Zeus really reveals himself to be this shallow old man who's really full of himself.
Zeus, truly a good person, murdered his first wife by getting her to turn into a fly and then ate her.
Wait, that's what happened to Metis? I thought she was visiting her sister in Babylon. Oops.
The game's personality is what really separates it from Breath of the Wild. That, and there are no villages with homes, stores, etc. And let's not forget the difficulty. There are vaults that offer a brisk challenge, while others are absolutely diabolical. They are so damn difficult that even the sadomasochists at Nintendo would think twice about putting them into a Zelda game. In the end, Immortals is one of those busy work games, even more so than Breath of the Wild, which has a much larger open world. Would I recommend this to fans of the recent Zeldas? Hard to say. I can't say for sure that the story will win you over, because honestly, I don't think people care all that much about the Greek pantheon, unless you're playing as a murder hobo. And if you're burnt out on the busy work of Ubisoft open worlds, this game may or may not win you over, so go try out the demo, such as the one on Switch here. It naturally has a lower frame rate and resolution than the PS4 port, but Switch owners should be used to that already. After several years, I finally have this game out of my backlog, and I'll give it this much. It let me kick the crud out of the mighty Hercules. That was pretty fun.
Disappointed!
Oh, without you, I would have lost the ability to love myself forever.
Actually, I stole that years ago.
Clearly. Looks like you've been loving yourself far too much. Oh, you might want to disinfect that toga.
Oh, glad you're back.
But I got Aphrodite back to her old self again. I think you might have a shot with her.
Oh, so a gorgeous goddess in love with a chicken? I'm sure that's illegal.
Definitely not illegal.
Next up is Lunar 2 Eternal Blue on the Lunar Remastered Collection. But wait, I hear some of you crying out from atop a mountain. You have to play the first game before the sequel, or else you won't understand the story. You're one of those stupid people who always read the ending to a book first, aren't you? Hey, relax. I have played the first one on PlayStation years ago. It was a roommate's copy. Years later, I went through the PSP port back when I had a Vita. So I already played the first Lunar 2 times. 3 times actually, does this one count? Lunar, the Silver Star story, had taught me a valuable lesson back in the day. The more evil a girl is, the more skin she shows. It was also one of the first anime things that taught me that even if an anime looks like it was made for kiddos, it can still have crude humor and mature themes. As for Lunar 2, I already played this one too, but that was only once a million years ago. I prefer the menu system in the sequel, and the mechanic of moving slowly in a labyrinth, except for bursts of speed, didn't bother me. The story takes place 1,000 years after the first game. Lucia has awakened on the Silver Star, but according to her, it's not the right time. She descends to the Blue Moon, where she meets Hero, who wants to help her with her mission of meeting the goddess Althena. Also, he has the hots for her, so there's that. The game then carries out like a JRPG of old, where you meet new companions with mysterious paths, and you go from one labyrinth to the next. Play the game long enough and you'll recognize the pattern. First there's story time, then you buy new equipment, level up in a labyrinth, and fight a boss. This is followed by more story time, then you buy new equipment, lather, rinse, repeat. The pattern is interrupted a few times, but that's the basic flow for the entire game. Battles and story scenes are the main highlights. The remastering job presents true widescreen, and the anime cutscenes are especially impressive. I remember how pixelated they originally were, and seeing them so clean and crisp like a remastered anime show is almost magical. There is a classic mode though, which has a 4:3 ratio and several CRT filters. So if you want to relive the glory days of having a shitty TV, all the while wishing you had a better one, kind of like the one you have now, then this is the game for you. One of my favorite story elements is this guy, Leo, who's hunting you down because he believes Lucia is the destroyer, bent on blasting the world away. Leo goes through a plot twist, which I won't spoil here, but I always thought it was amusing. There's also Lamina Alsa, who looks a little like her distant ancestor, but otherwise they're complete opposites. Something I love to do in this game is go around towns and talk to NPCs. It's something I don't usually look forward to in other JRPGs, but the people in the Lunar games usually have something funny to say. Seriously, this dialogue didn't have to go so hard in being this quirky, but I'm glad it did. And the crazy thing is that it's probably not a very faithful translation of the original Japanese text, which is fine by me. As long as the dialogue's on point while also being comedic, that's all that matters. Of course, this translation from the old working design team is pretty controversial. Some love it, others like it, and the rest absolutely hate it. In my humble opinion, this kind of artistic license with a foreign translation won't work with just any game, but the Lunar games seem to warrant it. So that's that. We played this game for the story, which is kind of like binge watching an anime show with extreme padding. The battle system with its positioning strategy is good, but nothing to write home about. This game is a blast from the past that I found worth revisiting.
Who's there?
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition!
Going from simple graphics to not so simple, we have Clair Obscur Expedition 33, also known as beautiful people with filthy faces. Seriously, just look! They look as if they belong on a catwalk, doing their little turns. But instead, they've been raised in barns, rolling around in hay. Someone should tell them to have some damn dignity. Or better yet, someone should go in there with a fire hose and wash them off. Did they seriously forget to bring soap with them on this expedition?
Why, yes, I did forget.
Okay, with that out of the way, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 was the surprise hit of May. The previews were intriguing, but I waited for reviews, and when hype went through the roof, I plunked down $50 for it. This is basically a Final Fantasy game. Well, let me try that again. It's what modern Final Fantasy should be more like. Final Fantasy can have jaw-dropping graphics, but it can also have the kind of combat that longtime fans are nostalgic for. The game begins in Paris, with the Eiffel Tower looking like it's in need of Viagra. Hey, I have a book that sort of starts out in Paris. Our hero, Gustav, sees his old flame wither away because a powerful magic being named the Paintress made it so that everyone who is 33 years old must die. It was the Paintress who had caused the fracture over 60 years ago, leaving the world warped and filled with strange creatures. But as dire as this setup is, there's always room for levity. Such as this trash can. Why is there a button prompt for this trash can? It leads me to believe that this trash can is all alone. It has no friends of any kind. Oh, here's another trash can with a button prompt. It's just a trash can, but maybe it can get together with the other one. They can have baby trash cans, and the Unreal Engine can make them the most beautiful baby trash cans in the world. Anyway, it's up to Gustav and his team to go to the Paintress and shut her down before this slow-moving apocalypse can continue any further. Combat is turn-based. Oh, look at that gameplay! Oh, it's so old and retro. What the hell were they thinking? Don't they know it's the year 2025, not 1995? They're so stupid making gameplay like that. Oh, cringe! 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 It's not just old school. It's gloriously old school. There's even a world map with enemies and goodies to pick up. And just when you think this game can't get any JRPG enough, you get to ride on a giant oven-baked turkey. There's this other game where you cross the ocean on the back of a giant turtle wearing goggles, but Expedition 33 takes the cake. It has managed to outquirk every JRPG out there, and that's no mean feat. And yes, I know the creature actually looks like this. But tell me that doesn't look like an oven-baked turkey from this view. The combat resembles that of Persona 5, but with button prompts scattered around the characters, and you can even whip out a gun to take out weaknesses. But this game also has strong Dark Souls influence, such as with the gothic enemy design, full of nightmarish figures who want to take you out in one hit. And I don't mean on prom night. In Dark Souls, you have Estus flasks, while Expedition 33 has Chroma elixirs, which you refill every time you rest at a flagpole. And let's not forget dodging and parrying, which are the crux of the game. Foes can hit hard, so it's often imperative to avoid damage, rather than just take it and wish for the best. The key is to observe enemy combos and get the timing down right to dodge or parry at the right times. The result is your party members looking like the Roadrunner, dodging the Coyote. Many times I got used to dodging successfully. Other times, not so much. It can get pretty nerve-wracking, especially when I believe that I'd gotten the timing right, but the game said nope. And finally, just like in Dark Souls, there are no manual saves, it's all done automatically. I hope this wouldn't be a problem, and I think it was at one point when I couldn't choose my party for a tough boss fight. Thankfully, there are generous checkpoints, and the fact that restoratives are easily restored. JRPG influence aside, this game has a French atmosphere, what with the accents and optional clothing. You even fight mimes, for shit's sake. Someone like Michael Bay might not like this game. What makes me say that? Oh, reasons. I heard the soundtrack was quite good, and yep, you have your moving orchestral pieces, but there's also good old rock and roll for battle themes. What's especially impressive is how each level has its own battle theme. The composer didn't have to make so many, but he went the extra mile because he could. Thanks to the Unreal Engine, the game has beautiful environments. I can't get behind the character design though. It resembles that in BioShock Infinite, but with smaller eyes and realistic skin. They look like cartoon characters trying too hard to be realistic. Especially when Gustav opens his mouth this wide. This game came about because one man quit Ubisoft due to being bored. I assume he didn't want to work on endless Assassin's Creed and Rainbow Six titles. He put together a team who worked for 6 years on a game they wanted to make. It's quite the inspiring story, but I feel it's my civic duty to inform you that not every upstart story ends with success. Speaking of stories, I'm glad I didn't have it spoiled for me beforehand. I had heard though that it got nonsensical at some point, only for everything to fall into place at the end. That's definitely true when the story takes a hard pivot. In conclusion, this is a beautiful yet grim game with a beautiful yet grim story. But if I wanted to play Dark Souls, I'd play Dark Souls. The game's reliance on dodging and parrying left me a little cold, and so, just like with Dark Souls, it's a game I can respect, but it's a little hard to like. If anything, I sincerely hope that this game shows that turn-based combat isn't dead, and that doesn't have to be restricted to games from the land of the rising sun.
Dig that funky beat.
Okay, we're here, we're facing these werewolves, gotta show them who's boss. Okay, that's effective, but still not doing damage. We need something with a bit more oomph. Pretty sure we can take him. Oh my god! What's going on here? Doomsday has come early! Why couldn't they just do that? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, let's try it again. We'll do better this time. Okay. Oh god, what just happened? Oh man, look at him. They're lapping his blood like cherry flavored Kool-Aid. Man, can't believe this is happening on stream. Oh wait, I know what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, that's more like it. Alright, now I can take out anything. Alright, the next stage is... Oh shit.
How about that mobile game, huh? if you're into that sort of thing. Meanwhile, I played through, and I can't believe I did this, Persona 5 Royal. And it's not just Persona 5 Royal, it's the Switch port. Sometimes I get something on Switch, even though I already have it on PlayStation, just to see how well the Switch can handle the game. Well, on PS4, the game is around 38 gigs. On Switch, it's just shy of 15. That's a lot of data compression. The result is piss-poor resolution. I have no way of measuring it, but I say it's between 500 and 600 progressive. It almost makes the game look like a PlayStation 2 title. It's especially noticeable in static story scenes, where jaggies and broken lines are everywhere. Truth be told, Metaphor ReFantazio also doesn't have the best resolution, even on PS5. But it's not as bad as this. With that said, the Switch port isn't all bad. Character portraits are perfectly sharp, as well as the hand-drawn anime scenes. Those are where the priorities lied. There are also decent load times and no screen tearing. If you're okay with the poor resolution, this is a decent port of Persona 5 Royal. Apparently, I was okay with it, because once I started playing, it sucked me right in whether I liked it or not. So about the game itself. I also played the vanilla version, and honestly, I could give or take the Royal Edition. There are some things I like about the Royal Edition, such as technical strikes, but the new characters seem to get in the way more often than not. The story is simply fantastic. If you're into shonen anime, then this should be up your alley. There were a few weaknesses in the story, though, that I noticed at around the halfway point, and some unnecessary things that I simply didn't like, such as the Phantom Thieves renting an amusement park. Like, the whole damn thing! What the hell? I found the first 3 chapters pretty thrilling, then the story began to drag a little before picking up again. Speaking of story, I saw a little of the anime. There are some things I didn't like about it, but it was generally okay. But I still prefer the slow burn that the game gives. Even if it means I'll have to run into this boss battle eventually. It may not be the final boss, but it is one son of a bitch! I had to be prepared with the right attack setup to take advantage of enemy weaknesses, because there are 4 robots that all have to be defeated within 2 rounds, or else they'll run away and be replaced with fresh ones. Oh, and there's a time limit, which is always fun. For a moment, I was afraid I wasn't prepared, but fortunately I was. Through dumb luck. I said earlier that playing Lunar 2 was like binge-watching an anime series, and that goes double for Persona 5. Half of this game is a dungeon crawler, and the other half is a visual novel. If you can't be invested in the story, then this game isn't for you. Maybe Life of Black Tiger is more your thing.
And now for a show!
Man, I'm starving.
Allow me.
Oh,
some
yeah!
sauce, a touch of red. Bon appetit.
Oh man, just what I want. Get out of my face! Chew on this! Not bad.
Yes! Victory!
Next is Fatal Frame, Maiden of Black Water. I was thinking of saving this for October, but then thought, the hell with it. It happens. This is the native PS5 port, which I got at the same time as the PS4 port. You know what that means? More trophies! I actually first played this on Wii U, where I used the big-ass gamepad controller like it was a camera. The little screen was like a viewfinder, and I moved the controller around to find ghosts and take pictures. I'm sure it wasn't the kind of thing everyone would enjoy, but I did. It was the kind of thing the gamepad was made for, and so for a little while I got my money's worth. There is no second screen nonsense with the remaster, though you still have the choice between traditional controls and using the accelerometer in your controller. The previous game, Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, which was only on Wii for a while, did a suitable job of setting up a spooky atmosphere. But with the follow-up, the devs wanted to break the chains of censorship and ramp up the gore. We're talking murder, malevolence, and a certain word that YouTube doesn't like, but it begins with an S. The primary setting is Mount Hikami, where people like to venture in order to do the S word. I don't know about you, but going around a forest in the dead of night with just a flashlight is pretty unnerving. But that may pale in comparison with wading through deep water among dozens of little gravestones. At least they look like gravestones. If I ever have to do something like this in real life, I may have to forego underwear in favor of a diaper. Finding a live woman stuck in a box deep underground is also deeply disturbing. And then there's the Shrine of Dolls. If you hate the feeling of being watched, especially by soulless eyes, then this is the place for you. No, Mommy, I don't want to go in there. You can't make me. Is that you, Mommy? No, I guess not. Now here's a life lesson for you. Don't pick up trash in the middle of a forest, or else you may find some sword-wielding son of a bitch charging right at you. The hallmark of the Fatal Frame series is battling goats not with a proton pack, but with a camera. You do damage by taking pictures as usual, but in this game there's a bit more strategy to it. Your initial shots break off spirit pieces, and the more of these pieces you capture in a shot, the more damage you inflict. And twisting your controller around is key to getting these spirit pieces. It's a simple concept, but it makes the combat in this Fatal Frame entry all the more interesting. And considering how difficult it was just to move around in the PlayStation 2 titles, it's no wonder this is my preferred way to play. The game is episodic, where you can easily revisit episodes. Going off the beaten path and finding collectibles is helpful in getting points, which you then spend on camera upgrades. And since there are 3 playable characters with 2 cameras among them, you have a lot of upgrading to do. This may not be the very best survival horror game, but it has just enough spooks and scares to bring me back every now and then.
Don't get up yet. Stay there. You need to rest.
So you're just gonna sit there and watch her sleep? And this is supposed to be a tender moment. Okay then. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all! Pokemon, keep 'em in my little balls! Pokemon. Now that I got that out of my system, let's talk about Star Ocean First Departure. Arrgh. I was going to start up Grandia 2 until I was reminded that this was still in my PS4 hard drive. I loaded the save file made about 5 years ago and picked up from there. For some damn reason, I let the game languish. Maybe I didn't think I'd like it, but not long after starting it, I realized this is just good old story-driven JRPG goodness. The story is based on Star Trek, with starships making contact with an underdeveloped world. Some intergalactic assholes have made this world a testing ground for a bioweapon, so our heroes go into the past to find a solution to this crisis. So yes, the story takes a cue from Star Trek 4, the one with the whales. The early Star Ocean games are well known for their skill systems. Unlike in real life, you can invest points to gain skills that raise stats and unlock specialties. For example, there's the scouting specialty that can raise or lower the enemy encounter rate. It's like a cheat you have to earn first through normal gameplay. Most of these skills are only available after you buy books for them using in-game currency. Kind of sounds like a raw deal, but well, when's the last time you played an Assassin's Creed game? Spend money, save time! Of course, you don't have to invest in skills. You could largely ignore them if you want to make the game harder for yourself. Good luck with that. The menus may be complex, but battles are pretty simple. You press a button to hit bad guys, and use the shoulder buttons to hit them in a different way. There are also spellcasters who slow down battles with their mandatory spell animations. The game has several difficulty spikes that demand level grinding, and that includes the final boss. He whooped me the first time around, so I included another spellcaster and did some leveling for several hours with YouTube videos as background noise. Overall, I had a good time with this one, and I'm not sure why I dropped it all those years ago. Maybe it was because of the soundtrack, which I'm not a big fan of, or maybe the lack of direction, or maybe it's because of Dorn showing off his ass in every victory screen. No, I'm sorry Dorn, but I don't want to be looking at your butt cheeks throughout the whole game.
Listen, Roddick, we've got to do something about Welch. She won't stop chasing after all the men in town.
Oh, come on. I gotta find one while I'm still young, don't I? Can't very well do it when I'm old and wrinkled.
What was that?
I don't remember anyone saying your name, Ilya.
Welch, what kind of guy are you looking for? I'm assuming you aren't just casting around blindly.
suppose I want someone who's reliable and someone who can make decisions. In other words, the boss type of guy.
What?
Like Ronix, for example. Oh, I think he fits the mold pretty well.
What?
It's true that he's a little older than me, but that makes me feel like he'll be there for me when I need him, you know?
What?
What's wrong, Ilya? Why are you acting so surprised?
Are you serious about what you just said?
Thank you for watching. You know, this year I went ahead and did something that I wondered if I ever get around to doing. I sold my older consoles and games on eBay. We're talking PlayStation 3 and Wii, and a humble collection of games including those for GameCube. It was nice to have them and look at them occasionally, but I had no real desire to play them again. Besides, some of the best games on these systems have been remastered or remade, except for Eternal Darkness, which is a shame. At least my old games now have a chance of being played and enjoyed by others, rather than collect dust right under my nose. Most of these things were sold on eBay, but my Nintendo Wii went to the new Pink Gorilla store here in Las Vegas.
Wii? Pink Gorilla? No, not going there.
Let's not forget I'm an indie author. Here's the second part of my epic trilogy, The Hunt for the Three Roses. After being exiled from his home, Kane has found a new one, working as a housemaid for an honorable count. But his friend Callie, if she can be called that, is still finding a place where she can put her fighting skills to good use. A man from her past, though, is dead set on revenge. He'll use the Thousand Cuts approach to make her wish she had never failed him. Faced with a tough decision, Callie must give herself up, and hope that any goodwill she's earned can come around when she needs it most. You know, playing games is fun and all, but let's not forget the streamers, who want you to watch and pick apart their actions, whether they like it or not.
You're a bird. You know what birds do? They eat their own poo. It's like recycling. What's that? You don't eat your own poo? Why not? You'll be like Al Gore's best friend in the whole world. Don't you want to be Al Gore's best friend? Bird. Birds. What's up, everybody? You know what I love? DBT Gaming. I truly love that man. Like, you know, not in that way, but I love his live streams. I love them almost as much as I love birds. I love you, bird. I love you. Anyway, yes, his live streams are just legendary, truly phenomenal. But just last night, I think he reached his zenith. He can't get any better than this. I mean, mwah, chef's kiss. Let's take a look. So, you play as gorilla in this game, but who would want to play as a gorilla? I mean, seriously, do you know what gorillas do in, like, real life? You know what gorillas do in real life? They don't eat bananas. No, you only see that in cartoons. They don't eat bananas. You know what they do? They eat their own feces. That's what they do. That's how they get their nutrition. It's like, you know, recycling or something. They recycle their feces, and that's how they stay alive. You know, maybe that's what we should do. But I don't know. I don't think I would want to. But oh man, I just died. I mean, you see what I'm saying about him. You know what I mean. This guy just said, with a straight face, that gorillas eat their own poo to keep themselves sustained. I mean, you can't make this shit up. Well, maybe you can, but it'd be hard. And you know, people say I hate DBT. How can I hate him when he's given me so much joy over the years? And I wish I could bottle some of the joy that he's given me so I could sell it. I'd be a millionaire in no time. DPT, you keep doing you, man. This is Reviewing USA, signing out. I'm going to delete my YouTube channel tomorrow. Apology video soon to come. You blew it, bird. You blew it. You blew it.
Birds, 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 birds.